It's all right. Jeff Selden from VOA.
Jeff.
General, thank you very much. A couple questions. First, do you have any updated estimates on how many ISIS fighters are left in Syria and in Iraq?
We do have a number out there. I mean, it's an estimate. I don't know how. It's not a very high. I don't have a high confidence level of what that is, but you could throw anywhere from 3,000 to 7,000 Daesh that are left throughout the Euphrates River Valley, from up around Dar es-Zawar all the way down to Al-Qaim in Iraq.
And as a follow-up to that, I know you said that Raqqa has been cleared of ISIS influence. How concerned are you and are your SDF partners about sleeper cells, about fighters who are staying there perhaps looking to cause trouble over the long term? And what types of measures are you taking to make sure that they won't be effective if there are any?
So thank you for your question. And I think that there are several examples throughout northeast Syria that give me confidence in saying that there's a very low probability of any Daesh that remains in Raqqa. There's Manbij, there's Topka, there are other Ainisha, there are other locations that once they were liberated by the SDF have not had one Daesh attack since then. The other problem with Raqqa is that there are so many unexploded ordnance or munitions that remain there. Just a vignette, we've just now started to have bad weather here in this part of the world as we get closer to winter. And the other day we had the first significant rainstorm in that part of Syria. And there are so many explosive devices still left that the rain was hard and actually was causing some of those explosive devices to detonate. And so there are so many out there. Nobody moves around very freely until areas have been cleared of those unexploded munitions by the SDF and by the civilian companies that we have that are working for the international community to assist in this effort. So I think it's a very low probability that there will be any Daesh sleeper cells that remain in Raqqa or any of the locations that the SDF have liberated.
Question, General, if I may. What type of measures are being put in place, or are there measures being put in place to track the Daesh fighters who were handed over to tribal leaders? Perhaps they weren't frontline fighters, but they were still affiliated. Are they being tracked in any way other than the assurances given by the tribal leaders in Syria?
So the solution to that problem was a local Raqqawi solution, and I think it's a great news story. Our by, with, and through process means that our partners are the ones that determine how they prosecute this fight. And in this particular instance, it showed that the SDF, who is the military arm and is conducting the military operation to liberate Raqqa, was pressured and convinced by the civil council, the civil leadership in that part of Syria, who listened to the tribal leaders, who are the constituents of the Raqqa Civil Council, to figure out a way to solve this problem that would eliminate any minimize the civilian casualties. I mean, one of the most difficult things for us over the latter days of Raqqa was to watch, as we looked through ISR, and watch civilians trying to flee Raqqa gunned down by Daesh fighters. Absolutely horrific. And so what we did do with the SDF is we did take all of those members and we enrolled them biometrically so that we are able to track them into the future. But this was a good news story for everybody in this part of the country, that it was a Syria solution to a Syrian problem, and in the end it was the civil governance that dictated that solution.